All right, gamers. So, as promised, we are going to do a quick little review and summary of some games that are very kid appropriate. If you want to start your kids off, or family members, or whoever that's a little bit younger, into the idea of the fantasy realms, the role playing stuff like that. So Jamie will show us a couple of options that he's, I believe, used to play with children in the completely legal and above board way.
That's right, always above board and legal. So let's start off with something I actually don't have on hand, and I'm going to ask my video editor to throw up an image for you guys. I see a lot of people with newborn babies who are D&D fanatics.
Where are you going that you're seeing all these newborn babies?
I'm a dad.
Yeah,
I'm in a dad group where
I go days without seeing children.
I'm sure you do. The advantages of being a single guy, right?
Yeah.
That's it. So getting back to the topic of items, the first thing that I found out long after my kids were too old for it is there are 2 books available. One is called The ABCs of D&D.
Okay.
And one is called The 1, 2, 3s of D&D.
Wow.
Yeah. And they are awesome. I would have bought them for my kids if I had known they existed back then. Basically, it goes through some of the monsters, the ABCs and stuff like that. And then the 1, 2, 3s is like, I haven't read that one or looked at it, but that's it. They're both in the same series. They both look identical, and they're like super cool for like little kids and stuff like that. And just starting them in on the idea.
I feel like the only thing after that is to just like give them dice in the womb. Like if you're down to that level, it's just
dice in the womb. Just here, start rolling your D20.
I didn't expect him to do the motion, but yes, that's what I was imagining.
I like to keep you on your toes. I like to surprise you occasionally.
Well,
all right, so moving past the infant stage and apparently pre-birth stage,
is
prenatal stage.
I know a word about kids.
Look at you. Only to avoid it.
Yes.
So the next one up is this set here. This is Dungeon Mayhem. This is a playable card game for kids. This one is recommended for 8 and up. Now, I have played with my 6-year-old daughter, and she did very well. In fact, she beat me twice at least.
I would have put my money on her.
Yeah,
she's a smart kid.
She is. Anyways, this is the Monster Madness expansion pack. The reason I brought this one specifically is because, actually, believe it or not, when you open it up, okay, we have a beautiful divided for all your decks.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
And you have your little token keeper here. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic set, although it is a little bit more expensive. And it doesn't come with your heroes. This is just the monsters. Okay. And in the monsters, you have a Mind Flayer, you have an Owlbear, you have a Dragon, you have a Gelatinous Cube, a Mimic, and a Beholder. Obviously.
So the idea behind this game is to get kids maybe interested in the subject matter.
Yeah.
This is not really comparable to what actual D&D is. It's using the same subject matter, like the monsters or things that are very famous in Dungeons and Dragons.
That's it.
So just seeing if your kids, say, oh, that's so cool, the monster, the type, the hero, and everything like that. Yeah. Just you're testing the water a little bit to see.
It also gives you that opportunity to play D&D with your kids without requiring them to commit to a character and stuff like that. So that's the first one for the youngest version, and lots of fun to play. The second one, again, I don't have a copy with me, unfortunately, is the game called Adventure Begins.
Okay.
And Adventure Begins is actually a board game type game, but actually it's probably the closest thing I've ever seen to actually playing D&D in a board game style.
Okay.
You have several tiles that you can flip-flop for different maps. You have monsters and characters that level. You have spells to choose from. You have limits on what you can do and stuff like that. It really does take the D&D and sort of really focus it into a board game. That retails for about $40 online. So
that one would be a good step up from the card game. So the card game we're looking at, this is just, are they interested in the subject matter? The Adventure Begins is actually, the mechanics to a certain degree, like the movement of your character versus the monster. There's dice rolling, I assume.
There is a little bit of dice rolling,
and stuff like that. So now you're actually getting into the actual mechanics of how D&D would work, but you're not quite to the level of the imagination and creating, your own characters and
there's not, and that's it. There's no note taking or anything else like that. Everything's played live at the table. It's recommended for 10 and up. All right, so we go the 8 and up for the cards, 10 and up for Adventure Begins. And then we have classic board game styles like Dungeons and Dragons. Now, this is a much older version. This is one of the collector ones that I've actually picked up. This one is listed for 11 and up. I haven't actually had the opportunity to play it, but it is a classic board game.
Okay.
Again, it deviates from the role play aspect and more of the tokens and moving around. There is ways to modify the game so that the storyline changes.
Yeah.
But it's not role playing.
So this one's again that step up style that we're talking about. This was actually going into a little bit more of the world building, the imagination, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So not to say the world building so much.
Okay.
Because it is still a finite dungeon.
Is there a dungeon master in the game?
There is the dungeon master that runs the game. Yes.
Okay. So that's definitely getting into that real mechanics of the Dungeons and Dragons game.
So, and then obviously from there you move up into the regular game of Dungeons and Dragons, which has a recommended age of 12 and up. Yep. And again, folks, let's keep it real and understand that that's an arbitrary number in a sense, right? That's a number that they say the average child reaches at that age. They should have the ability to comprehend and play the game and focus.
Yeah.
Your child may be able to play younger. Your child may require a longer time. But you know what? If you want to play with your kid, I say go for it. You can write stories that they're going to love. You don't even need to write them out. You can make them up on the fly, right? Simplified character sheets or no character sheets at all. A DM can keep track of the hit points if you want. They don't need to worry about it. They can focus on the rolling of the dice, which is something they're going to love. That's something they're big on. And they can focus on their characters and playing their characters as who they are. So I think no matter what the age is that we set on these games and stuff like that, if you want to take the time to sit down and play a game with your kids, D&D or any game,
yep,
I think that's the best you can do.
So, so those are some of the options that we have available that we knew about to potentially introduce kids to the D&D universe, some of the D&D mechanics and stuff like that. So, if you are looking for some options that are available to do that, those are some really great ones that Jamie brought to show us today. So, thank you very much for stopping by. Hopefully, this info helped you out and maybe helps you get started with your family for Dungeons and Dragons. And I'll let Jamie close out the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Hit that notification button so you know when we upload regular content. And keep on gaming. Board game or RPG.